Hello everyone and welcome back to Celeste. Just ignore me being in Farewell. At this point I had realized that I need to actually beat the B-sides to complete Farewell. So I was in the middle of Farewell and then I was like, okay, I guess what we need to do here is actually go to the B-side. And this is chapter 3, Celestial Resorts B-side. Now, what I like about this B-side is a lot of different things. Mostly because it's mostly, I'm just kidding, this B-side is horrible, and it's not even that hard. The issue with this B-side is it all reliant on timing, and I just suck at timing. You know what I also suck at? I suck at jumping these kind of blocks where you have to like go to the side with the wall. Those kind of jumps are horrible. Anyways, I really like how the outside section was like this, because honestly I had replayed the original chapter 3 just before this, and I did not realize that there was an outside section before the resort, which is pretty cool. Now for this part, it's actually pretty simple. You just have to grab onto the walls as you jump, then dash once here, then do a wall jump, then another wall jump, and then you can climb up. Don't be worried about wasting your dash. Now this part is actually pretty easy. It's all just a matter of timing. Except for this section. This section is a little tricky. You kind of have to do... Not that. You kind of want to do like a diagonal jump. But you want to do a dash onto the platform. You want to dash onto the wall once you hit the third platform. And then you want to jump over, but also make sure that you're timing it perfectly. See what I'm doing there? That just would never work, which is a-okay with me. Okay, I kind of wasted a bit of space here. That is an alternative way to do it, is you can do a diagonal dash through, which is what I opt for. But upon replaying the stage, in order to do this overview, it's far easier to grab onto the wall and then jump up. Because doing this diagonal dash is very dependent on timing. You want to do it when it actually, when the enemy, I don't know what those things are called, when those shadow red things go down in the rotation. And this is what you should have done on the first part, something like this. But now, I'm pretty sure I'm going to get it this time. And it's very weird that that platform fell. This part actually isn't too bad either. Honestly, one of the easier parts. It's just like the original one, except for they added a little bit more of those creatures, which I don't actually recall the original stage too well. I remember there are red things, but not till way later. I'm actually starting to think that the B-sides might be technically shorter. However, they're much harder, so therefore they take just as long as a normal level. At least for me. B-sides can take longer than a normal level. But last time I checked, they're technically very short. Like so. Ow. Yes. Okay. That was completely mistimed, but that's okay. So the whole issue with this section is timing, which I am bad at, as we all know. I do have patience in video games, but not patience for things like platforms like this. Yeah, I'm not sure what I'm doing there, but I'm gonna slip off. Even if I had made that jump, I'd slip off because I used all my grab. Also, here's a tip. I'm sure you would know if you played Celeste before, but grabbing an orb and recharging your dash actually resets your grab timer. So how long you can actually grab and hold onto a surface. This part isn't actually that bad. So for this part, you kind of want to like time when you do it and then jump to the opposite wall and then do a dash. And then if you do that perfectly, you always will time it so that you end up in the middle. The hardest part of this part is actually going to the middle area and staying there and then getting to the end. As you can see, I keep mistiming it. As you can see, it's super simple. Now, ooh, that was a close one. Okay, and then you want to... See, this part is really tricky for me, and I'm not sure why. It has to do with timing. Timing is just horrible at this part. If I did something like this, right, it went through the middle like this. It's that. That is not how you do it, but it was close. So it takes me a while to actually figure out how to do this. This part is honestly a little bit of a pain. But it's more like this. What I want to do is time it so that I do it perfectly. There we go. If you do like a dash jump there, and then I got super lucky with that. Now this part is just a pain. Mostly because of this one in the middle. Like if the shadow thing didn't exist in the middle, going back and forth where the spring is, this part would have been super easy. So you have to be wary about where this thing is, and of where it's going as well. So if you go like this, go up, this is the trickiest part, is figuring out how to do this timing. I believe what you're supposed to do is you start in the middle, like that. You start in the middle and do the top one first, like that. And then you want to go and do the middle one and the bottom. But you don't want to dash like that. I can't remember how I did it. You sort of want to dash like... Yeah, if you do like a... Is it a dangle dash, I think? I think if you do a dangle dash to the left, you survive. Okay, that time I messed that up so badly that I might as well just end everything. Okay, never mind, I still do it. Okay, so I always hang down on that wall. Yeah, this is when I get it very close. There we go. See, hanging on that wall is how you do that part. This part is kind of tricky in terms of timing. What you want to do is kind of diagonal dash at the right moment. And you do not want to go above that one, you want to go below. So you always want to make sure that you can go below the object because of the way the rotations work. So I want to do something like this. Like so, and boom. Okay, and do not want to do that. See how close that was? See, this part is actually super easy, which makes sense. I've noticed that they made the parts where you get the checkpoint, you know, the mountain thing, a lot easier than any other section in a B-side. Which makes sense. Because they want you to be replaying the stage from a checkpoint if you do leave it. Oh, I remember this part. This part is a pain. So you want to grab onto the wall, then jump, wall jump off, then jump again. And in this part, I kept failing multiple times because I kept dashing up on that platform. What you're supposed to do is fall off of that platform in the middle area. The one that is just before the final little wall you have to grab. You want to fall off of it, then grab onto it. And then you want to dash, then hit the wall where the last one is, and then jump away. Which for some reason was very hard for me to execute. I'm not too sure why it was hard for me to execute, but it just ended up being that way. Okay. So I think I'm gonna do it this time, or maybe the next time. Yeah, something like that also works. However, the way I ended up doing it was simple. We went here, then you want to wall jump almost immediately. Because if you do that, you're gonna have to hesitate the timing. This is all about lack of hesitation. You want to do wall jump here, and that will make this safe. But only for a brief moment. The pattern that these are moving at is much trickier than it first seems. There we go. Say I ended up doing it properly. This part is actually fairly easy. That's why I skipped most of it. But what you basically do is, as you land on the platform, jump around the objects, and in that part you just need a wall jump right away. As soon as you land that jump, and if you wall jump right away, then you are guaranteed to win. I mean, you are guaranteed to win if Madeline decides to let you win. Okay, great. Okay, so you want to wall jump. Well, I think it's pretty funny how many times I failed this part. This part is definitely one of the easier sections in the entire level. Just watch what happens when I actually do it. It'll be hilarious why I'm failing. I think the hardest part is actually executing these wall jumps. Because these wall jumps are just mostly pain. Because if you don't get the timing perfectly, even if you do it right away like you're supposed to, it doesn't work out. So something like this. And boom. Okay. Then you want to like kind of dance. I call it dancing around that part. This part is like super easy. All you have to do is like hang on to the wall, wait for a little bit, but do not ever go down. When you grab onto a wall, don't go down, because that will activate the dark thingy. The little, I don't know what they're called, maybe they're sensors? Let's say they're sensors. The sensors activate the danger. So if you move any slightly on the wall, then you'll activate them. And I thought it was a great idea to do a forward dash there. Now, all I had to do was just dash. So it's possible to do this without grabbing the walls, but I believe when I actually do it, I do not do that. Now, I can tell you how much easier this part is compared to other ones, because compared to other parts where it took me maybe 5 minutes to figure it out, this one actually took me a minute 25. I only have one clip for this part. Okay, I'm getting close. I want to make sure that I'm actually grabbing the wall. If I grab the wall there, then I wouldn't have to worry about the timing here. I'm making things needlessly complicated by doing that. Okay, then I need to wrap around the wall, and boom. Now this part is just a pain. I'm not sure why they thought this was a good idea. So this is all about going fast, but also timing it. So you have to wait a little bit, but also not wait too long. This part is actually not too bad if you do it properly, but I couldn't figure out the timing for the life of me. Like, it seems so close. And I actually think the issue here is I'm grabbing the wall, and I should just do wall jumping right away. Because grabbing the wall wastes a tiny bit of time, which is wasting the time that I need to take in order to get up there. But we're not actually to one of the hardest parts of the stages yet. Honestly, this B-side was definitely a awakener on how hard B-sides can be. Because there are some very tricky parts coming up. But also this has one of the funnest sections in all the B-sides. But I'll talk about that later. Go, Madeline, go. See, I failed the first jump endlessly because of how tricky the timing is. And this is the first time I actually do it properly. The first time I may do it properly is when I actually do it. Which says a lot about the difficulty of this part. Now this part is basically a piece of cake. I can tell because of how much time it took me to do this part. However, I am being silly here. Quite a while. Okay, if I had Dangle Dash there, I would have been fine. So if we jump here, we go to the orb. I'm mistiming it. We go here, then jump to there, like that. Then boom, grabs onto that wall. Wait a little bit. Oh, this part's a pain. So, what you want to do is kind of like time your jump across these. And since it's rotating two at once, it kind of confuses your brain a little. But I treat it as if there's only one going. So you want to go, wait for a little bit as if one's going. Then you have to like perfectly wall jump off and hit that spring to reset your dash. Which is easier said than done. This part is an actual pain. Because I kept not jumping from high enough off the wall, because it keeps sledding. So you want to go as fast as possible. Also make sure that you're timing it. Otherwise that will keep happening. Which is a pain. We're gonna do something like this. Okay, I think I'm gonna finally get it soon. Okay, so what you want to do is die, I guess. You just gotta make sure that you're going as fast as possible. You don't have to worry about being perfect. You don't have to worry about your grab wearing out at the end. You just gotta make sure that you're high enough to hit that spring. Then it's just one simple up jump right there. Grab onto the wall and cling on. That part was very tricky. This part is also pretty tricky. Mostly because of how long you have to grab. So it makes me nervous on when I can jump and when I can't jump. And look at this. If I do this, I'm gonna slip off. Okay, never mind, I hit that. But if I had kept trying to grab onto the wall, I would have slipped off. The hard part is actually getting this squeeze at the bottom here. What you want to do is climb to the top, wait a little bit, jump, and get the squeeze. That way you can jump to the opposite wall, and then you're able to grab the orb, which I missed. But this was the first time I actually made it to that section. So that's why I wasn't thinking about the orb. I was like, what is this? Maybe it's super easy. And there I accidentally dashed. So I cut my losses there because I knew I needed that dash. And I just took away and used that dash. Like so. You want to do something like, not that. See, I keep getting confused about what the dash orb is for. However, I will get it eventually. So you want to go like this. Like so. Then up. And around. And that works as well. Now this part is just rude. I never was able to figure out the timing on that part. However, I did beat it. For some reason, I may have accidentally deleted the clip there, so here is the clip from the next part. And don't worry, I don't ever use assist mode. Well, I actually did once for Chapter 4's B-side, but it was to see timing by slowing down the game, not actually to cheat. I didn't even know this mode existed until I watched someone use it for a challenge. It was a no wall grabbing challenge, where they didn't use the no grab mode. They just didn't hit the input, but they did have to use the no grab mode because it modified some of the terrain. I'm sure anyone who's seen that challenge would know. Anyways, I am not one who would do a Celeste challenge because I find this game hard enough already. Especially these B-sides. Now this part isn't actually that bad. You just want to make sure that you're doing those like wall jump ups. I don't know how to describe them. Just hold the jump button while holding the up stick, and it makes you like kind of spring off the wall and back on it, but vertically. And once you get past this part, this is super easy. You just bounce on the spring, bonk, and win. This part can be tricky, but it's all about a matter of timing. I can't believe I accidentally forgot to record a clip. That's crazy. So, what I like to do is I like to duck underneath that dude. And then I want to dash right after that right away. That way the dude charges me in an area where I can dash up again. What you gotta remember is when you're running on the ground a lot, you're gonna recharge your dash constantly. So when you normally conserve your dash, like always, it's not a big issue when you're doing a section like this. You can also hide in the step goal. So if you dash here, then you can actually make that. But I did not dash that time. You can also bonk this dude at the start, which doesn't help too much with the sinking. But really the hardest part of this part is that part, where you have to go underneath that. Then you just go up. And this part, you just dash for the heavens, I feel like. Now this part is like super easy. I did it in almost like maybe 10 attempts. That's how easy it is. You just do that and then dash. No, that was 2 attempts. I did not even edit that. That was just me splicing the clip. I mean, not splicing the clip. Well, splicing the previous clip, not a clip for that part. This part took longer than I thought it would. But then again, it was not that bad. So it's just basically spamming dash again, except for you're doing it in a way. So the way I do it is you kind of wanted that angle dash in the perfect timing. It's actually the easiest way to do it. So if I do something like this, you just go boop, 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 and then you die. Which is not my intention. You want to go boop. Not my intention either. So boop, 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 boop. And boop, boop, up. So there's many different ways to do it, but I finally will figure it out soon. I hope. I'm gonna go dash, 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 diagonal, diagonal. See how I'm kind of delaying my dash right there? I'm kind of like moving Madeline to the side a little bit, which actually slows. Well, it doesn't necessarily slow it down. What it does is it kind of delays when I'm actually going to get to the object that was moving. And this part is pretty easy. If I just timed that right, I would have done it. That was like basically my first 10 attempts right there. And I'm going to do it this time. No issue at all. This part is super duper easy. You just want to make sure that you grab it and either dash up, then to the side. Now as for this part is super easy actually. The hardest part is the end. So you want to time it so that this block, the pink block should be unhighlighted when you're doing this dash through. Okay, I mistimed it there. The pink block should be unhighlighted when you do dash through. There are quite a few attempts where I can't even get on this pink block. But once I get the timing down, this part is actually super easy. It actually flows very well, which I like. I like it when things flow. See, then you just diagonal dash across there. I almost got the sequence within like 5 attempts. That's how you could tell that a part of Celeste is actually easy. Which, I'm not sure if these ending parts are supposed to be super hard or relaxing. I can't tell. The first one was like ridiculously hard, honestly. But the second one was also super easy. Then I just jumped here and then diagonal dash here. And that is Chapter 3 B-side complete. Anyways, unfortunately that's going to be for this video. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.